Humans are quickly urbanizing all over the world. While urbanization is occurring, so is the destruction of the environment. We're slowly but surely destroying the environment, and urbanization is just adding to the problem. The world population has largely increased in the past 100 years. As the population grows, so does the population of people living in urban areas. As seen in the graph from Our World in Data, from the years 1500 to 1800, the rates of urbanization in Japan, the United States, China, the world, and India are constant. Then in the mid-1850s to 1900, the United States has a big jump in urbanization while the other countries start having a steady increase. By the year 2016, all of the countries have risen by at least 30% in total population living in urban areas. This next chart, taken from Nature Sustainability, a journal that publishes research on sustainability from the natural and social sciences, depicts the change in natural, engineered, social, and institutional infrastructure. As seen in the graph, as we move from more rural to urban areas, this natural and social infrastructure start to lower and lower, while the engineered and institutional infrastructure rises. This means we're losing the more natural aspects of our world and moving to more man-made things like large buildings. The increase of urbanization also creates problems like the loss of biodiversity, increase in pollution, and the change of climate. With the recent spike of urbanization has come the loss of biodiversity. Slowly but surely, we are killing species, and we do not even realize it. This picture from bioninja.au shows a negative effect brought by the addition of invasive species in new environments. As shown in the graphic, with the addition of the fox to this ecosystem, the quoll loses its food source, causing the population of quolls to decline. Humans do not realize that moving species to another ecosystem negatively affects that ecosystem. Although we may be saving one species from extinction, we might be killing another. Not only are we hurting other species, but we're also creating massive disruptions in the food chain. Ecosystems are not only losing biodiversity, but the habitats in these ecosystems are being destroyed. Things like fragmentation and the dumping of trash are destroying these habitats. According to woodlandtrust.org, fragmentation occurs when parts of the habitats are destroyed, leaving behind smaller, unconnected areas. This is a huge problem. We're only destroying the land for the needs of humans and not looking after and caring for the animals that live in it. Another huge problem is pollution. Pollution has been a big problem in recent years. The spike of urbanization does not help with that. Help the matter. In fact, only makes it worse. There are many types of pollution, but some that are majorly affected from urbanization are water and air pollution, both very important parts of human lives. With polluted water, it is harder to find good drinking sources, and with air pollution, it is harder to breathe. Water can be polluted in many ways, but one common way found in urban areas is through the sewage. With the large amount of sewage in urban areas, the water can become polluted more easily. Air pollution is becoming a large problem everywhere in the world. It's seen largely in urban cities, as seen in the images behind me. As quoted from Richmond Vale Academy, a registered nonprofit research and training institution, in cities there's a high concentration of vehicles and industries, which release harmful pollutants into the air. These pollutants can cause a range of health problems, including respiratory infections, heart disease, and cancer. This shows why cities have higher pollution rates, and why with the continuation of urbanization, this problem is only going to get worse. One of the most discussed topics in recent years is climate change. It's evidently occurring, and urbanization is just speeding up the process. The graph behind me from the article, Contribution of Urbanization to Warming in China, shows the increase in temperature difference from the years 1960 to 2010 in both Western and Eastern China. This next graph from Our World in Data shows the total population of people living in China, total people living in urban areas in China from the years 1960 to 2010. When put side to side, these two graphs look very familiar, very similar. Both graphs start to increase right before 1980 and have a big spike around 1990. As stated in the article, Contribution of Urbanization to Warming in China from Nature.com, clearly the effects of urbanization have considerably exacerbated the warming experienced by the majority of the Chinese population in comparison with the warming that they would have experienced as a result of external forcing alone. There are ways we can slow down this rush to urbanization. One possible solution can be found within the graduate and teacher at Harvard University, Julia Watson's TED Talk. Watson stated, and then to deal with flooding in a completely other way, the Tofinu tribe has developed the largest lake city in Africa. As seen in the picture, the Tofinu tribe built over their lake instead of destroying the lake to make their city. Instead of destroying what we currently have, we can find ways to build around the environment instead of building on top of it. When we build on top of the environment, we just destroy the environment and the homes of the animals living within. We can find ways as a society to urbanize while preserving the environment around us. It could be argued that urbanization is a good thing and that it is not harming the environment because animals can just evolve. As the Associate Director for Communications and Public Affairs at Whitehead Institute, Eric Bender stated, songbirds in Europe and owls in Argentina show evidence of natural selection in genes associated with cognition. Even though it does happen, with the rate that we are urbanizing, these animals will have to constantly evolve just to simply survive. It could also be argued that we can just switch to electric cars to slow down and hopefully fix the problem of climate change. But it's too hard to get everyone to switch to these cars due to the price and availability of them. Urbanization is a very important aspect of our world, but as it continues, we continue to harm our environment. We need to find ways to urbanize while keeping our environment safe. We need to stop and think about the effects urbanization brings if we are going to continue to urbanize at the current rate. That's my word.
Thank you, Tanner. So Tanner, what information did you need that you couldn't find?
When I started looking at my research question, I was going to look more into the just general effects of urbanization, but I couldn't really find it information on how urbanization affected the economy. So I just started to focus into how it affected the environment.
Okay. And then how did you use the conclusions of other people to advance your own research?
In some of these articles that I found, they concluded that urbanization, like in the one from Nature.com, they said how the warming in China is in prevalence with the urbanization rate in China. So they concluded that the urbanization is creating the increase in temperature. So that helped me conclude that urbanization is harming the environment.